So I have it. Okay. All right. So here we go. So DNA to protein is also called the central dogma. So if you haven't gotten going on this yet, or if you just need the recap, it's two main steps. We have transcription, which takes DNA and changes it, reads it to create RNA. That RNA then is used to create a protein. It's the instructions, the directions for making the protein. And so we know from DNA structure that DNA is composed of, hundreds, thousands of genes. Each gene codes for a protein. The big problem is the DNA is in the nucleus, and the protein making machinery, the ribosomes, are out in the cell. So how do we get the code for the protein that we need from the nucleus to the ribosomes? And that is our RNA, that messenger that's going to do the work. So we're going to take the DNA strand and we're going to open it and create a copy of the code on that protein in RNA format. RNA is single-stranded, not double-stranded, which is why it only looks like half of the DNA. And then that RNA is going to go out to the ribosome. It's going to be used to help in the creation of the protein. So I'll talk about each step. We're going to start with transcription. So again, transcription is going to take place in the nucleus because that's where the DNA is located. So this is in the nucleus. We're going to open that double-stranded DNA. You can see all these bonds here. We got to break these bonds and open up the DNA so it's wide and we could read the gene that we want. So this is the gene we're after. RNA is going to be created from reading this gene. How it gets created is just like creating a new side of DNA. We're going to use base pairing. So we're going to use the rules. The only catch is RNA does not use T. Okay, so as a nitrogen base, it cannot use T. It's going to replace it with U. So you'll notice that RNA here is in pink and it does not have any T's. Instead, it has these U's. So what happens is our RNA processor, our creator, it's called RNA polymerase, is going to read the DNA, and so it sees a T, and it's going to match it up with an A. And it sees an A, we're going to match it with a U. Now, normally in DNA, we would have matched it with a T, but again, we can't use T in RNA. It sees a C, so we're going to put a G. And what you might notice is that up here, other than the T, it's matching the other side of the DNA code. So it's using basically the same rules. Once that RNA is created, it's going to take this RNA, and this is messenger RNA because its job is to send the message, the code from the DNA out to the ribosome. So it's going to take that and leave the nucleus and head out to the ribosome. So let's kind of do that work ourselves. So if you've got any scrap paper and you kind of want to follow along and practice with me, we're going to say that this is the DNA code up in the nucleus. Okay, and this is just the one side of the DNA that we're going to read because we're only reading one side. So RNA, and again, this is going to be messenger RNA that we're going to make. If I see a T on DNA, I'm going to put an A. If I see an A on DNA, I'm going to put a U because I can't use T. I see a C, I'm going to pair that with a G. G, I'm going to pair with a C, and then I'm going to keep going. Okay, dot, 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 however long this is. Now, if we want to make a cheat sheet, what we could do is we could say, DNA to RNA, because that's the process of transcription. And I could make a cheat sheet over here. So if there's an A on DNA, I'm going to put a U on the RNA strand that I'm building. If there's a T on the DNA, I'm going to put an A. If there's a G, I'm going to put a C. And if there's a C, I'm going to put a G. So having a cheat sheet like this in your notes might help you with these problems so that whatever I see on DNA, this is what I have to put across from it on RNA. Where does this happen? Hopefully you can think of that answer in your head, right? That's the nucleus. Who does the work? I mentioned it briefly. I don't know if you caught that. It's RNA polymerase. And polymerase is an enzyme because it ends with ASE. And luckily, scientists were nice and they named it RNA polymerase, so we know what it makes. There's also a DNA polymerase who's in charge of making DNA when we need to prepare for cell division. So before I move on to the second half, translation, does anybody have questions about transcription?
Is there a, like, because there's two things to the DNA, how does it choose which one to translate to the RNA?
Yeah, that's based on the direction that the DNA is positioned. So DNA is kind of like a road. It's anti-parallel and runs in opposite directions. That RNA polymerase can only read in one direction. So it always chooses like the DNA side that it can read, depending on how it's oriented. So it's
Okay.
kind of like us driving a car. You know, we need to drive on the right-hand side of the road, so that's the lane we pick. You know, we don't want to cause an accident by pretending we're in England and driving on the wrong side of the road. Any other questions? Okay. All right, on to translation. So once that messenger RNA leaves the nucleus, it's going to again travel to the ribosome. Here is my RNA. Okay. When it gets to the ribosome, which is where this is going to happen, it's going to be read in chunks of 3. And that chunk of 3 was a codon, if you remember that from the structure of DNA content assessment. So all of these are in chunks of 3. So this is my actual letter code. Now, how does it know? How does it know to read in chunks of 3? Who actually does the reading is another RNA molecule called transfer RNA. So transfer RNA has kind of a weird shape. It looks kind of like a T. Okay. And here, kind of at the head of the T, it's got 3 letters. It's got 3 nitrogen bases. So each sequence of 3 can match up with any of the possible combinations that we can come up with from our nitrogen bases. So for instance, this first one, right, is AUG. So if I put the opposite of that, I would have UAC. And so that transfer RNA can match up. It's going to fit here like a lock and a key and know that it's in the right spot. On the other end of that transfer RNA is the amino acid, in this case, methionine, which we usually abbreviate MET. And so it drops that off, kind of like a parent dropping their child off somewhere, right? It parks, makes sure it's in the right spot, and then they get off, and the parent leaves. So it's going to drop off these amino acids. And as it drops them off, they bond together. And they form what's kind of like a paper chain. So if you remember maybe in kindergarten, you guys took all those little pieces of paper and you interlocked them and made that paper chain. That's what our amino acids are going to do to form our protein. So how do the amino acids get there? Transfer RNA carries them. That's why it's transfer RNA. It carries them, checks to make sure they're in the right spot. When they have that confirmation, they release their amino acid and they bond together. So they work their way down the chain, adding on a new amino acid to the one before each time. So let's take a look at how do we know as scientists what goes where. So a lot of researchers spent a great deal of time trying to figure out what amino acid goes with what sequence of 3 nitrogen bases. And they've organized what they learned in what's called an amino acid chart or an amino acid wheel. This is kind of the wheel version. And so through their experimentation, they were able to figure out that alanine can be coded for, you know, if you have a G then a C, and then actually any of the other nitrogen bases. It doesn't matter for alanine, he's a little flexible. Okay. So how does this work for you if you're trying to figure out what's going to go there? So if I take something like AUG, which is methionine, and that's our start codon, it's always the first amino acid in every single protein. So I start with the first letter is in the middle, closest to the point. So I go from A to U, from U to G, because that's the next letter, and I get methionine. Or if I want to do something like UAC, again, I start in the middle, I go to U, and then to A, and then to C, and I get tyrosine. So you follow the flow from the inside to the outside in an amino acid chart like this, in order for you to figure out what's going on inside of the cell. Okay, not every chart looks like this, so I wanted to make sure I switched it up. So we'll do a practice one together here, and we're going to use a slightly different looking chart. This one, you'd pick the first letter here, which tells you the row that you're going to be in. The second letter up here, which tells you which column, and then you bring them together and find the intersection point. So here's our messenger RNA. First thing I would do is break it up into codons, so my chunks of 3, and then I would start to look them up. So AUG, I've got the A, then the U, so these meet here, and here it is, AUG, which is methionine, so I would write met. Then I have CCC, so I'm going to start with the C. Here's this one, so they meet here. And this one codes for proline. And then I've got AAA, which is right here, which is lysine. And GCG, GCG, which is alanine. And I would keep going until I get to one of these stop codons that would tell my ribosome and my transfer RNAs were done, no more. This amino acid chain is finished. I can now fold it into a finished protein. So again, where does this take place? It takes place at the ribosome. So the ribosome is a critical component to this process. Who helps out the ribosome? Well, we need that messenger RNA because it's carrying the code. We cannot do this without it. We also need that transfer RNA that's going to bring the amino acid. Okay, and all the amino acids together, got my little A for amino acid, they make up my finished protein. The protein is a chain of amino acids. And then that protein can go off and do the job that it's created to do and help out the cell in whatever its job is. So do you guys have any questions about translation? This really covers objective 3 and 4.
I'm not really sure if this has to do with it, but like, does the whole process take place inside the nucleus or outside of it?
Yeah, so the first part, transcription, takes place inside the nucleus, but then all of this part, translation, takes place outside the nucleus.
Thank you.
Any other questions?